Dan Bucatinsky, Emmy winner, and officially the busiest guy in Hollywood. You are back in the running now this year for Superstore. We're going to talk about that, and I'm sure that you're re-entering the other shows. Let's start with the big news, though, and that is you are in the reboot of 24, and you're a communications analyst. Fill us in here.
Yes. It's I'm the guy. I don't know if you remember the old 24 that ran for almost 10 years, or if not 10 years. There was a character named Chloe, who was always in Jack Bauer's ear. I'm basically the new Chloe in the reboot. I don't look like her. Marilyn Rashcoe is great. I was always a big fan of hers, but I'm basically the new Chloe, and I'm in the ear of Miranda Otto. It's a similar premise. We're at CTU. That's where my character basically lives, at least until I'm not, or until I'm shot in the head. But I'm knocking on wood that doesn't happen. But it's the same group of people who created this new reboot. And Corey Hawkins, who from Straight Outta Compton and Walking Dead, who's just amazing, is sort of the new Jack Bauer role. It's a very exciting project. The pilot turned out great. It is very exciting. We do 12 episodes a season. We start shooting in September, and I couldn't be happier about it. It's a really, really fun, exciting, crimey, Yeah.
So when do we see the pilot, though? Are they going to air that in the fall, or they'll wait till the other 11 are done?
We will premiere after the Super Bowl.
Okay. On
Fox in February, and episode 1 will begin those 12 hours. And it will go 12 episodes in a row, all taking place on the same day. And it packs a punch, this particular one, just like all the old ones. But yeah, we're gonna get them all in the can, and I think we premiere in February after the Super Bowl.
Wow, this is a big departure for you. You're not used to roles, action roles like this. You're used to. I mean, you've done medical dramas. You're on Scandal, of course. Won your Emmy for that. And you've done romantic movies like All Over the Guys, and you've done all the writing and stuff. So how is this different?
It's different. It really is very serious stuff. I mean, I will say that the pilot is, in the way that Scandal was kind of heart-pounding and gasp-worthy, I think 24 was almost the first ones to be this explosive in an hour-long drama. And it really is, even from the pilot. And I have to say, granted, my character's not carrying a gun yet, but it really feels like very, very serious, dramatic stuff, which I got to play in Scandal, although that was so much more emotional. This is life and death, government tracking terrorist kind of stuff, and it's a lot of fun. It's a departure for me, but luckily I get to sort of play around and do some other stuff as well. So it's going to be fun.
Even though you were, I think most people would argue, a supporting player really on Scandal, you won in the guest category. And now you're in the running this year for a role on Superstore where you played a kind of corporate creep, a union buster or something. Fill us in on that.
Yeah, it was really fun. I got a call. I love America Ferrera so much, and Ben Feldman, and I was enjoying the show. I got a call to come in and play in the season finale a guy who is so scared that these guys are going to unionize that he comes in, total corporate D-bag, who just wants everyone to get along and trust that the company has their back at all costs. And, it gets very explosive, and they obviously walk out at the end, and he's horrified. But it was a lot of fun to play. It was with a lot of people that I had gotten to know beforehand. And, I love playing that kind of corporate, drone type guy. It was a really fun episode. It's like I got to do 8 or 9 scenes all in a day with the entire cast in that amazing set that looks like you're literally inside of a Target. I couldn't get over that fact. I mean, I kept standing there going like, are the cash registers working? Because I need to shop for some stuff. I need shampoo, and there's a detangler on aisle 7. I would love to have. It was a lot of fun, and I did it right at the end of last year. It became the season finale, and I was very excited to be on any list for potential. It's a real traditional guest star. Unlike Scandal, where I was on it for 28 episodes, this was a one-off at the end of the last season, but could probably come back in the new season. And I'm flattered and excited. It was a lot of fun to play, and the cast couldn't be better on that show. And I think America Ferrera's got a shot at a nomination this year as well.
Oh yeah, she's a past winner, of course. Now the thing you're alluding to here is that you made the Hollywood Reporter list of people to watch for Emmy nomination with this character.
Right. I mean, it's an incredibly competitive category, as it was back in the day. Obviously, the rules have changed a little bit now, so that if you are someone who has been in more than half of the season of a show, you are a supporting player. It's going back a little bit more to the traditional guest cast category of the past, where you are in one or two or several recurring. This was a classic guest star role where just this total dork shows up and tries to bust things up for people, and it was a lot of fun to play.
Now go back to actually winning the Emmy. I was there when it happened. I was downstairs as you and Don came down the escalator. And what is that like?
It's surreal. It's surreal. I can't explain it. I mean, I think people imagine. I didn't listen. You know, after I thought the nomination was the most shockingly exciting thing I think that had ever happened to me. Once you're nominated, you're certainly in a smaller pool of potential winners. So the thought had occurred to me that I could win. I just did not think I was going to. And so the level of shock, the adrenaline rush of just that was so unbelievable. I will never forget the difficulty in taking a breath for a solid 6-7 minutes. That backstage, I felt like I needed to be sedated. I was like, does anybody have a tranquilizer gun? I think is what I said when I stepped off stage. It was something that it took a few weeks to sort of wrap my brain around, but it was incredibly honored, very lucky. I was in an amazing category with great actors, and it's one of those things that happens like that in a lifetime. And I felt very.
You were lucky that it happened under the old voting system, because I predicted you were going to win, and I did it because your episode was so emotional, was so powerful, and I'm not sure I'm not sure what to think of the new voting system, because it's more of a popular ballot.
Oh my God, it would never happen. I'm telling you, it was one of those moments in time. Like obviously I'm proud of my work on the show, but everybody in my category was great on their shows. It was at a time in history right before they changed the voting rules. And had I been in that episode on that series this year, I might have gotten some attention for it, but there's no way. I'd be in the supporting category, and up against so many great actors on so many shows on HBO and AMC, and it was kind of fluky. It was kind of fluky, but I was very.
What do you think that the award actually? Do you think impacted your career at all? You're already before this the busiest guy I know, and now of course you're super busy. I know it's almost impossible to define. But what do you think that may have helped? Will it just help in the long term?
It's hard to know. It's hard to know. I mean, I can't say whether or not jobs and opportunities and meetings that I had subsequent to that impacted. I know I was murdered off Scandal several months after winning. So maybe that was a big impact. But I don't know. I mean, it certainly brought up a lot. I'm honored to, when I'm introduced at things, they certainly mention it. Nobody can ever take it away from me. But I don't know whether or not at the end of the day, besides getting a lot of attention, which it gives you a great deal of attention and a certain amount of validity. At the end of the day, to be an actor is always the same. You have to be the right guy for the role at that time. And whether you've won an award before or not, it's still that thing about being the perfect peg for a particular role. And I think it's going to be that way always. So would I rather be one than not be a winner? Of course. But I think it's the work of getting a job on a television show is what it has always been. And a lot of it's luck and a lot of it's circumstance. And certainly the Emmy isn't going to hurt me. So I'm thrilled about that.
But in your case, Dan, there's so much going on in your career already. It's hard to isolate what the impact might be. You could look at someone like Juliana Margulies, let's say, who had a second-tier role on ER, winning there her first season, transformed her life. She had boosted her career. There are cases like that where you can draw an immediate parallel, but it's hard to do that.
Well,
in your
I have to say, I think the kind of attention that I got as a result of it, I went right into, right after ending Scandal for me, I went right into Marry Me for a whole season. And then recently with this opportunity to be in 24, those aren't, I would say this, those are opportunities that may not have been afforded to me had I not been on Scandal, for sure. And so I tie the whole Scandal experience and the Emmy together. Life-changing, absolutely life-changing. I was always sort of a working actor. I would get jobs on shows. I produced a lot of shows. I've written a lot of shows. But, Scandal made me somebody who was more well-known, and it changed my life, and the Emmy added to that.
Now, you're also involved on the producing side, and what I want you to talk about here is and I cite you often as advice to other producers, where you've got Who Do You Think You Are? And it's a show that is flexible. It could go in any number of categories.
And has been, by the way.
It has been, and you've moved it around. And I remember through the years, you and Lisa saying, well, we're going to put it here, or what should we do? And you wisely moved it around. You've got 2 nominations in different categories. One year it was, I wrote it down here, it was structured reality, right? Last time was structured reality, which is where we are again this year. Oh, okay. And the time before that, when you were nominated, it was just for a reality program. Talk about that. How do you, what was your process of saying, all right, we're going to try this, it didn't work here? Because a lot of people face that. Yes. I mean, Who Do You Think You Are is a show we're incredibly proud of. We were proud of it at NBC and got nominated for it at NBC. And our partners at Shed Media and NBC are involved in sort of strategizing about what are we up against if we are a nonfiction program or in the reality division, or now that they have structured and unstructured in that division. And you sort of weigh the options. I mean, the truth is the show it is structured. There is a format to it, but it's also nonfiction. It's unscripted. So it could, in fact, fall into one or more categories. A lot of times it comes down to seeing what other shows are in those categories, right, and what are the odds of being able to be in a smaller pool from that. And the first time around, I think we got nominated in reality. I think one year at NBC, while we were still on NBC, we submitted in a nonfiction category. Right, I remember that was the first year, so you didn't get nominated, and you were frustrated. Yeah. We were up against American Masters, which for years and years and years wins at PBS, and a lot of other documentary and news shows. And it felt like too much of an entertainment program, despite the fact that it's a historical docuseries. It felt too much of an entertainment program to be in those kind of categories. And we put ourselves in the reality and got nominated. And then once we moved to TLC, we were in the structured reality category and got nominated. So there we remain. Lots of competition, lots of shows that are really good and very popular. But this year we're crossing our fingers because we've had some really, really great episodes of Who Do You Think You Are? And Bryan Cranston, it's an amazing episode that aired last season that we submitted. And Katie Seagal, was that this past season? Seagal was this past season as well. Leah Michelle, Aisha Tyler. We had some great Molly Ringwald, I remember. Yeah. Scott Foley, my buddy from Scandal, had a great story. So we're really proud of the season. The show got picked up for another season, but we're hoping for a nomination this season as well. And yeah, as producers, we're partners with our studio and with others who decide on strategy every year, and we talk about it as a group. Okay, well. But good luck this year, my God. You could, again, pop up in lots of categories. We do. Lisa and I also produced this documentary digital series called It Got Better. Yes, that's right. We've done for 3 seasons now. They're inspiring stories of prominent LGBT and how they overcame obstacles, We produced it with Dan Savage, and we have really, really proud of this show. It's really designed to be an inspiring message for young, struggling youth. And we realized last year that there is a category for digital nonfiction programming that is
that is one of the categories for an Emmy. So we've submitted this year, and again, we're up against a lot of competition. A lot of the sort of digital series that are in our category are digital series that are companions to existing television shows. So unfortunately, a lot of people will find a familiar name of a TV show in the digital category, and they'll vote for it because it's familiar to them. But this is its own digital nonfiction show with some amazing talent. This past season and last season, we had Portia de Rossi, and this season we've just launched the show in May for this new season with Sir Ian McKellen and Candace Cain and Adam Lambert. Really inspiring stories of overcoming obstacles, and we're crossing our fingers. So a lot of different categories, and I'm wearing different hats.
Well, you got a lot of room behind you for extra Emmys that if you start winning more, that's
yeah. Good. I have to take out my kids' artwork and then pop it out. It helps keep you grounded and know what's important.
Yeah. Okay, Dan. Good luck to you. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much for talking to me.